Hi everyone, so today I have an amazing video and this is actually insane that we have the best open source LLM till date. This is the DeepSeek version 3 and it is actually better than the ChatGPT 4o and Claude Sonnet 3.5 and they have given it for free. They also have an online version for it and I'll go through it. I'll compare with the Claude, I'll compare with ChatGPT as well. I have a complete test in this video. But the crazy thing is that they have uploaded the weights and everything on Hugging Face, and this is actually crazy. Now coming to this particular model, let's see a little bit of what are the benchmarks they have achieved. So you can come to their website and you can look at these, and it is excelling in almost everything. It is better than Claude 3.5 Sonnet, it is better than GPT-4o, and pretty insane for an open source model. And somewhere I was looking into the training, and I think it cost them around 5.3 million. And it is crazy how they have achieved such great scores. So for a graph, here is a graph which has visualized the benchmarks. You can see this is the DeepSeek, and this is GPT-4o, and this is 3.5 Sonnet, right? So you can see that it is pretty comparable, it is better than, and these are all the different benchmarks. It is almost better than 4o in everything, and it is very comparable and excels in a lot of different things when compared to Claude 3.5 Sonnet. When it comes to math, you can see that the math is pretty incredible, and code forces and everything like coding, it is pretty good. And we have also known that 3.5 Sonnet actually excels in coding previously, and I'll show that in a moment. But it is pretty comparable, better than 4o, and we are not talking about the 4o mini, which is the free version. We are talking about the GPT-4o. So this is the thing. Now if you click on start now, you actually get completely free access, and this is actually pretty good because you also get a reasoning mode which is called deepthink, and I have made a video previously, but it was not version 3. So you have a deepthink mode, and now recently they have added search, so it becomes pretty much similar to perplexity. And I also have perplexity, and currently it is set to Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So we'll start comparison with that. I have a set of questions, and after that I'll change the model into GPT-4o and go through these same questions, right? So let's get started. You can see I also have a code editor open because I'll have some coding questions. So let's start with it. The first question is, it is a simple reasoning question. Write 7 sentences ending with apple. Let's see. I'll give this and perplexity. Now I'll set it to writing mode, so I do not want it to go through the web. And let's see. So 7 sentences, all of them are actually ending with apple. This is Claude Sonnet 3.5 that I am using currently. Here you can see, okay, so one of the sentences did not end with apple. The recipe called for 1 grated apple to add sweetness to the dish. So I would say that in this particular test, Claude performed better, but I have been going through DeepSeek, and most of the times if it gives correct answer, but a test is a test, it has failed in this one. Let's move to the second question. Now this is actually pretty interesting. The question is, count the number of words in your next reply. Here in DeepSeek, you can see this reply contains 5 words. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and it is like giving pretty exact results. So for this, you can see it gives us word count of 47 words, right? But if I put it, I have put this in a word counter and it says 51 words, so it is not exact. Another thing which I actually loved is that it is giving a reply and then giving the word count, but this word count 47 words is also part of the reply, right? So Claude does not understand this, but DeepSeek does, and this is pretty insane. So last time when I made a video on the LLM, someone asked me why is it a big deal, right? And let me give a very small explanation. How LLMs generally work is that, for example, they would generate this and then they predict the next possible, like the best possible word that can come after this according to the input. So after reply is generated, they predict the next best possible words. Actually it's not words, it's tokens, but it is how like they understand. And in terms of tokens, what happens is that these words get broken up into small segments and that becomes token, and it is based on context. So reply always will not be broken in a similar manner. So it takes some parts. So for example, straw will have a different token, berry will have a different token, but strawberry will have a different token. So that is the reason why it generally you would have seen in they could not mention the number of R's in strawberry, but DeepSeek actually excels it, and pretty amazing for a completely free model that is also open source. Imagine people who would be actually training this model better and better on like specific data sets. Let's come to the third question. Now this is going to be pretty interesting because this is a coding question. What I have given is that create the most beautiful looking form which will have 10 random questions and each will have a drop down in front of them to assign pass or fail using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I also need to see the creativity because most beautiful looking form is something very subjective and what it understands by it. I will give DeepSeek the same and Claude Sonnet the same. You can see the generation has started. One thing you would notice is that DeepSeek is quite fast, and I love this thing about it. So firstly what I'll do is that I'll copy the HTML, then CSS, and then coming to JavaScript. And I'll run it. You can see it has created a normal questionnaire with pass and fail. And it is good looking, it's not bad. It also has a submit button. It has hover effects on it, so pretty good. Now let's get started with Claude, because this is something where Claude is known to excel, that is coding. I'll copy this, and it does not have any other aspects. It has given us everything included in HTML, so I'll do that and I'll run. Now like you can look at it and you know this is perfect. This actually is way better than DeepSeek. There is hover effects on the question. Not only that, one minute thing is that you have select, pass and fail. So if I select on pass, the color is changing. If I give fail, the color is changing, and you can set it to select, then it is neutral again. This is actually pretty insane. So, and it actually looks so beautiful. There are like hover effects in terms of the size as well as the color. Each and every question has different hover effects with the color changing and it is slightly moving towards the right. So the translate is there, and pass and fail actually changes the color, so anyone who is looking directly knows how many are correct and how many are wrong. And when I mentioned here the most beautiful looking, I wanted to see the creativity according to a human like UI UX perspective, right? And I think it excels. Claude is no doubt the winner in this particular question. Then coming to something a little bit more philosophical, and I have two sets of questions because of that. First is, what is the definition of life? When can we draw the line whether an entity is living or dead? And as you know, this is a pretty a topic which people cannot directly answer without thinking. So I just want to see how the models are thinking based on something which is very humanly. So it gives the definition of life where there is like organization of cells, metabolism, and growth, reproduction, adaptation, and response to stimuli. So, and then there is like living, dead, non-living, gray areas. If you know, viruses are somewhat like between living and non-living, and that's the thing. And philosophical and ethical considerations. So I think this was way more like a scientific kind of answer that we were looking. And this is the same for Claude as well. It gives us the scientific definition of life, cellular level, organism level, gray areas. You can see virus, seeds in dormancy, frozen organisms. And then it gives like irreversible permanent stoppage of cardiovascular and respiratory functions. So very scientific in nature. So just to follow up, I have another question, and it would be interesting to ask an AI, because the question is, if an AI gains consciousness, would it be living or dead? So this is something I want to see what, being an AI, they reply. So if an AI, this is the answer by DeepSeek, if an AI were to gain consciousness, the question of whether it would be considered living or dead would depend on how we define life and consciousness. This is deeply philosophical and scientific issue with no clear consensus. Let's break us down. State of being aware and able to perceive one's own existence, thoughts and surroundings. And while consciousness is a hallmark for many living beings, animal, humans, it is not the sole criteria for life. Life as traditionally defined requires additional characteristics like biological organization, metabolism, growth and reproduction. What happened? And adaptation, evolution and everything. So if you look into this, mental characteristics, consciousness and self-awareness if achieved, ability to learn and evolve, arguments against considering AI as living, physical limitation, no biological cellular structure, no organic metabolism. So you can see like there is no clear definition, but it is good because here in Claude, given the current definition, a conscious AI would likely be considered neither living nor dead, but rather a new form of existence that challenges our traditional binary classification system. So what Claude is trying to say is that it is a completely different category. So not a carbon-based life form, it can be a silicon-based life form, but the definition of life in itself changes. The conclusion that DeepSeek gives us is if an AI gains consciousness, it would not fit the traditional biological definition of life but could challenge and expand our understanding of what it means to be alive. It would likely occupy a new category, neither living nor dead, that would require us to rethink and our definitions and framework for life, consciousness and morality. So both of them pretty much same, and for this we can understand is that the training data that they have worked on have been somewhat similar because they are thinking in a very similar pattern. And with this, I have a last question which is based on math. So the question would be, this is a function, this is an equation, and here it can be written as this, right, where p is constant. Which of the following is the closest to the value of p? So this, and the answer is actually 16. So let's see. I will give the same question to DeepSeek. DeepSeek is actually pretty fast, and here due to some reason it gives the answer as 21. Okay, but 21 is not the correct answer. The answer is 16, and again DeepSeek actually excels and is better than Claude. Now maybe if I run it again it would give the correct answers, but I don't know. Let's see. Now what I will do is that from the starting, that is the reason I kept this in a different page, I would rewrite each of these answers with GPT-4o just to see what are the changes. So remember, Claude was actually able to generate 7 sentences ending with apple. DeepSeek was not. It gave us 6. So for 4o, apple, there is gift, red apple, apple. So you can see the performance is pretty much as same as here. We had one that was ending with dish and not apple. So this is 4o, and we'll do the same thing with all of these. So here the reply with 15 words, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is actually not the reply. I don't know whether like you would give it a pass or a fail, because the reply is actually all of this. So if you are counting just this much, so obviously it is 15 words, but the thing which we got in DeepSeek was this reply contains 5 words. So it is replying the number of words and including those words in the count as well. So I think this is way better. Now for this one, like the coding question, I'll again rewrite it with GPT-4o. It is giving us 3 different files of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Claude made that into just one, but I loved Claude. And let's see whether 4o is better than Claude or not. This is JavaScript and I'll run. So this also looks pretty good. There is pass and fail. Obviously, there is a submit button. But if you compare it with the Claude, it was best. Like there is no comparison. Hovering over a question was giving us that hover effect. It also had an extra select to set it to default. When we were selecting pass or fail, it actually changed the color to green or red. And it was amazing. So again, this is better than DeepSeek, but still not as good as Sonnet. And I do feel like if I change the prompt a little bit, DeepSeek can give better results than this. So again, let's go to the definition of life. So this is a question where you can see they are giving pretty much same results like organization, metabolism and homeostasis, growth and development. It's pretty much same. Biological death, clinical death versus brain death. So and there are like gray areas like viruses, artificial life, AI. This is something interesting. They included like AI into this. Metabolism. And let's see the last question, second last question. That was, will AI be living or dead? They are giving a lot of details and ethics of sentient AI and everything. Conclusion: would not be alive by traditional biological standard, but it might represent a new form of non-biological synthetic life. Would depend on how we choose define life. Then again, you can understand that they are trying to push it into a third category, not life or death. And maybe the reason they are not trying to expand the already existing definition of life, because you would know that changes a lot of things like childbirth and stuff like that. So maybe the AI is trained on a different set of data and is not trying to change that kind of like definition of life. For the last, let's see whether it can solve or not, GPT-4o. And again it gives the answer as 21. I would try this thing. I would maybe it is getting confused because of something. I don't know why it is getting confused, but I would try to do something. I would create a completely new page and let's see. It is giving the answer 21 and GPT-4o is giving the answer 16 now. Previously it did not give the answer 16, but it is giving the answer 16. Again, Claude, for both of the times, Sonnet did not give the correct answer. GPT gave it once, 4o, and DeepSeek was able to give it at the first time, 16. So this was it. Complete comparison. Let me know what you think of this LLM. It is open source, it is free and everything. If you have any kind of doubts, questions or anything, put it in the comment section below and I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you.